First things first, I came out here 3 weeks ago from Ohio. I was working for the state party there to re-elect Senator Sherrod Brown, who is, yay! Like your senators here, just a real champion for working folks. With the state party raising money as well. I'm originally from Arizona. I have Tea Party parents out there who were Tea Party before the Tea Party was cool, so believe you me, our holidays are super fun. I know. I worked my first race on the border for Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. I was actually on the wrong side of, she's a good lady. I was on the wrong side of that primary as a scheduler, but she picked me up afterwards and I caught the bug and I never looked back. And now here I am with you in the Commonwealth, and I couldn't be more pleased to be here. So that's all I really want to say about me. I think you guys want to hear more about how things are shaping up for 2013, and I could not be more excited by what is really going to be, I think, the most unified, the most coordinated campaign we've ever seen. It's unlike anything I've ever worked for in the 4 state parties that I've worked for in the past. We're starting really early, is the first thing. OFA was on the ground for 4 years prior to last year's race, and we're starting earlier than even they did to get these boots on the ground, because we know that there is just really not a single moment to spare if we're going to send Terry McAuliffe to that governor's mansion, break the tie in the Senate with the Democratic lieutenant governor, get an attorney general in there who's going to fight for the folks and not for his own pocketbook, and end that superminority status in the House of Delegates. We don't have a moment to spare, and it's a big, big job, so we're starting early. And unlike some coordinated campaigns where it's coordinated in name only and you know, one hand doesn't know what the other's doing, we're actually a united effort. It's different from anything I've ever done because we are not only sharing the name, we're not only both under the banner of the Democratic Party of Virginia, we're sharing staff. We're sharing a communications team, we're sharing a finance team, we're sharing our analytics teams, we're sharing expenses, which is important for a reason I'll talk about in a minute, and we're sharing information. So you're not going to have folks from all these different campaigns calling you up. It's going to be a coordinated campaign where when you hear from the coordinated, you're hearing from the party, and vice versa. Because if we have an ounce of daylight between Terry McAuliffe's campaign, the coordinated campaign, the work you're doing here, we are wasting opportunities. And we can't afford to waste any opportunities this year because it's too important. So a little bit about the structure. We're going to have about $2.5 million for staff and offices. I want to let that sink in, $2.5 million. It's 170 field organizers in every corner of this Commonwealth. So you're going to have someone in your neighborhood working with you, coming to you and saying, who are the folks I need to talk to? Who are the volunteers I need to touch? How are we going to get this thing done? 170 folks. Something that I just found out about a week and a half ago is our analytics team is going to be headed up by the person who did President Obama's analytics for the 2012 race. I'm excited about that because we know that there's a problem with drop-off voters in Virginia's gubernatorial elections. Folks are tired after they go out and work so hard for the president. They go out to the polls and then we never hear from them again for 4 years. So having these analytics will let us figure out who exactly are these voters. What do they care about? How can we motivate them? And how do we drag them to the polls by their hair if it's necessary? It's necessary, thank you. Our communications team, we're going to have one person focused on just beating the snot out of Ken Cuccinelli all day long. Brian Coy is going to go crazy on him. He's already started. It's great. If you haven't seen the website about Ken Cuccinelli for president yet, check it out. It's clear that he's checking boxes. It's a little microsite we did, talking about all the boxes he's checking to get himself ready to run for president in 2016.
Did you do the little 45-second or so Fox News thing that went around today?
The question was, did we do the little 45-second or so Fox News thing that went around today? The answer is no, but I can find out who did.
It was great.
Oh, good. Well, it was great. So then maybe we did do it. Yes. No, but I'll find out who did that. And then a couple of other things I wanted to share is to help run up the score for the down ballot races, we're giving our press secretary over to the House of Delegates to be working with Jody, the House Caucus Director, and all of the great campaign managers and candidates around the state, several of whom you've heard from tonight, to help them really begin their efforts early. So they're defining those Republican opponents early. They're not missing an opportunity to get out in their district and do an earned media event. They're having that kind of real support from the caucus and from the DPVA on their earned media, social media, website efforts. It's going to make a real difference so that we begin to chip away at getting back to the status where we're not in the super minority. So that's a little bit on the structure for 2013. And then the biggest thing for me is that we're going to be saving a lot of money by doing it so united, because we're able to move things like carrying our communications director off of our books and onto the coordinated. Now, he still works for me, he still works for the party, he still works for all of you, but we don't have to pay for him. And that's important because here in Virginia, as you know, we have high stakes elections every single year. And you have never had a moment to catch your breaths. Never. Those couple of months after the campaign, we're all kind of hiding out under the covers and just trying to recover, and then you're back at it again, and it's going to be like that every single year. I'm sorry if this is news to anyone. What's wrong with December? That's exactly it. For me, it doesn't make sense to budget to go broke every year. If we do that, we never have a chance to capitalize on those couple of months while everyone's catching their breath to invest in bringing our staff up to speed on the latest technologies or the latest resources, to invest in maybe making a couple of key hires before we dive right into that federal cycle, to figure out what sort of technology or office space infrastructure we might need to build out. So my goal for this year is to come out of the year not just with a Democrat in the governor's mansion, not just with more seats in the House of Delegates, but to make sure that we are in a strong and sustainable financial position so that we can start capitalizing on our year-to-year-to-year gains. The Democratic Party of Virginia, thanks to the work of folks just like yourselves and so many folks around the state, you are a strong party. But we can be a lot stronger together if we make sure that we're coming out of this year in a position to capitalize on all the new volunteer networks who are going to be coming in, all of the new data we're going to be getting from the gubernatorial campaign, all the new donors that we can meet thanks to Terry McAuliffe's fundraising firepower. So we need to give ourselves those tools. We can't just plan to come out of this not able to plug a coffee pot in at the Democratic Party headquarters. That's not how you run an organization, because for me, it's not just about this year. We've got to look to 2020. We've got to look to redistricting, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to build a long-term majority for the Commonwealth. That's the only way, because they are gerrymandering the hell out of those districts. We all know it. So we've got to be ready. We've got to make sure that there is a Democrat in there so that they can appoint to the Independent Redistricting Oversight Commission. We've got to make sure that we have majorities in the Senate, majorities in the House of Delegates, great Democrats overseeing the elections apparatus so that it's a fair and transparent process. And it's got to start now. We've got to think about that now. We can't wait until 2019. So that's my vision for what we're going to be doing, is kicking a lot of butt all over the state this year, electing Democrats all over the Commonwealth, coming out with a little bit of money in the bank so that we can start to build on all the good work that you do this year, and then getting ready to start building towards 2020 so that we can take this thing back for real. We can take this thing back permanently. And I hope that you'll join me in that, because it starts here. It starts with folks like you. You're taking time out of your weeknight to come here to the Brigades meeting, get together, keep this really strong network going, and you're the kind of folks who can spread this word throughout your networks, that what we're doing this year is different. And it's not just for the sake of being different, it's for a reason. And the reason is that we've got a job to do, not just now, but on into the future. So with that, I would be glad to take any questions you might have.